Good morning, ACC faculty. This is Daniel, your facilitator for the online teacher certification course. So we're at the last week in the course. We're in week 8. So we're going to go over a couple different things in what you'll be doing for Module 8. So if you go through and you look at the Module 8 overview, you'll see your objectives, of course. You'll see your assignments here. And so you'll notice that if you go into the readings, there's not really any readings that you necessarily have to do for this week. So the main thing this week that I want you to concentrate on is completing the development, the development of your development shell. So the main thing to concentrate on is that you've mostly developed your Start Here and your Module 1 content areas in your development shell. So now what you're going to concentrate on is developing additional content for Module 2. And so what I'll do is I'm going to go into here, into the assignments. And so if you go into the assignments, you'll see a couple of different things here. So one of the things that you're going to see is the Module 8 Development Shell instructions. So what this is here is instructions for what to do here. So in other words, once you've completed the development of your development shell, what I'm going to want you to do is to submit the link to it. So in other words, submit the website address to it as your submission for Module 8, which is right here. So I'll go through a couple different things just to make sure we're clear on that. So I'm going to open up where you're actually going to submit your link. And one of the first things I want to point out here and for you to focus on is the rubric for how your development shell will be assessed. So what you'll see is there are 5 different areas here that we are assessing. So the content area creation, Start Here, the Module 1 content area, Module 2 content area, and the discussion board content area. So for week 8, you're mainly concentrating on this Module 2 content area, which is going to be creating 3 items of your choosing, any combination. So it doesn't have to be specific items, such as in Module 1. For Module 1, you needed 1 test, 1 Turnitin assignment, and 1 graded discussion. For Module 2, any combination of the 3 will suffice to meet the criteria for this Module 2 content area. So you can see you can create assignments, you can create tests, you can create discussion boards. If you want to create 2 assignments and 1 test, or 1 of each, or 2 discussion boards and 1 assignment, that's completely okay. The point is just to create additional content for Module 2. One of the other things I want you to do is to double check on what you've already created, just to make sure that everything is included. So for example, go to your Start Here area that you created and make sure that you've included the syllabus and that you've included the student learning outcomes there. Make sure that you've created 4 content areas. So whenever I create rubrics, I try to make the criteria as clear as possible for y'all, because one of the best practices of rubrics is that it should be clear enough for an elementary or a junior high student to be able to read and understand the expectations of it. So that's basically how clear your rubric should be if you are creating rubrics. So the rubric is purposely and intentionally clear, because I do want to be clear about how you're being evaluated for this course. I don't want any surprises. I don't like to have anything as far as any questions from students as far as I don't know if they're asking if we should submit 2 assignments or 1 assignment, or what we should create. So I want to make sure that the evaluation for this final submission, and even just in anything that you've done in this course, I always try to be as clear and transparent as I can with what the grading criteria are, so that you know what the expectations are of you. So again, go through this rubric, make sure that you have everything in your development shell, and that way you can make sure that prior to submitting the link to your development shell, that everything's all good here. So I'm going to exit the rubric. So then you have 2 options here for submitting your link. You can either write the submission, which can be in the text box. So from here, what to paste the link to your development shell and submit that as your submission, that is completely okay. If you also want to put this on a Word document and submit the Word document as your submission, that's completely okay also. So whatever is easiest for you, and then you'll just click and submit your link. Now when you submit your link, you're going to see this come up here. So right now, if you have not submitted the link to your development shell, you will not see this here. So as soon as you submit your link, you'll see that this additional content is going to pop up right below it for an end of course evaluation. So I've included an evaluation because of course I do want your feedback on the course as far as if it's been helpful, if you would recommend it to other faculty, and I want to make sure and collect that. And again, all the feedback that you've given me as far as maybe some additional clarification that needs to be done on some of the parts of the course, maybe some of the tests, some of the discussions, this is serving the same purpose. I want your feedback so that we can make sure that the course is developed for your needs. So in other words, if it's not meeting your needs, let me know how it's not meeting your needs. Do we need to add additional content? Do you think there's maybe too much of some particular area? So definitely be as honest as you can and upfront on this end of course evaluation. That way we can make sure that this online teacher certification course is exactly meeting your needs. All right, so again, that's just a couple of things that we'll be doing, that you all will be doing this week. So again, the majority of what you're going to concentrate on this week is finishing out the development of your development shell. So make sure, and again, I can't stress this enough, make sure when you go into and actually submit your link, or prior to submitting your link to your development shell, make sure to go through the rubric to make sure everything is crystal clear here as far as what needs to be in your development shell. Now the other thing that's going to happen is that after I grade your development shell, which will be with the rubric, just like on your discussions and anything else that we've had that's had a rubric associated with it, I will input your grade. And if your grade meets the criteria for the course, then what you'll be able to do is go into your course menu, and you see I've added a link for certificate of completion. So if your grade does meet, if you do meet the requirements to successfully complete the course, what you'll do is you'll go into My Grades. If you have the average as far as, which is 80%, to be able to successfully complete the course, then what you'll be able to do is go into Certificate of Completion and print out a certificate for yourself. So I highly recommend you do this. You can print it, you can save it. Just make sure to go into here, check your grades, and if you pass a course, go into here and just make sure to get a copy of that certificate, just so that you have for your files, make sure that everything's good. And sometimes your chairs or your deans also want a copy of that as well. So that way you have that available for you in case you all do need it. So again, going back into the course, and even just from grading assignments, everybody's right on track. Some people, I think I've already had 3 people submit their development shells. So everybody's moving along just the way they should be. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns as far as this week, please let me know. The last day of the course is Friday. So make sure to complete any assignments that you have that you might not have completed yet by Friday, because in this course we cannot grant any extensions due to the timing, to the time it takes to grade assignments, facilitate the course, grade the development shell. So make sure to have everything submitted by Friday, which Friday's date is August the 9th. But definitely, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you can of course email me, you can call me, come by my office in Building A, Office 178 by the Cyber Lab. And again, good luck. Everybody's been doing great in the course, so if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to let me know. Thank you.